Well, good morning, friends. Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. I think that you should have videos reflecting the real deal on what happens right now with people and life and gardening. I'm still in my pajamas, y'all. It doesn't get any more real than this. So for about 2 to 3 weeks, I have been the biggest ball of stress. And if you watch my videos or you know me, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that I am A++ type personality. And when I have goals, I expect to meet them. And I'm very hard on myself. I'm harder on myself than I am on anybody on the planet. It's just the way I'm wired. I can't necessarily change it, so I know. Tell me to calm down, drink a margarita, go to the beach, do whatever. Do 100 push-ups and forget it. So this is why, I don't know if you know this or not, but I took martial arts for 4 years, heavy Krav Maga and kickboxing for almost 4 years, and I would go 3 to 5 days a week. And I will tell you that if you are high stress and anxiety, that is the ultimate thing to do, because you just beat the stress. You get the stress beat out of you, okay? I was so physically fit during that time in my mid to late 30s, and I'm gonna tell you, it transformed my life. I don't think I could physically do what I'm doing now into my 40s had I not done the things that I did in my 30s. So going forward, for some reason, ladies, listen to me, and then we'll get to what we're talking about. I just told my boys the other day, I said, it's like when you hit about, for me, it was like 27-ish, my body changed. And it kept changing into my 30s. You know, you start really aging. And I combated that, and I'm so glad I did that, because I don't think I could work like I do now had I not done what I did in my 30s. But anyway, can you believe all this hot mess? I thought she was a homesteader. I thought she was supposed to be showing how to garden, not how to grow junk in a garden. Let's have a reality check right now. Patara needs it the most. So I don't know what you do. I don't know who you are. I don't know who's watching. I don't know what you believe. But I'm going to tell you right now that I am tore up about all the things that we're seeing happen in the world and in our country. With people's finances, with the country's finances, with the entire stress and push on our food and the prices and all the things that are going on. And so when you think like me and you think like that, which I'm not going to go, that could be like endless videos, you tend to want to do more at your home. You tend to want to grow food. I went through this before, which transformed my life into this lifestyle, which is why you're here. You know, I stepped out on my back porch, realized I couldn't grow any food. We've talked about this before, and so I changed that. Did it in an urban neighborhood, y'all. Not a lot of space. We eventually moved to a farm, and now we have transformed and moved back home to Southeast Tennessee onto another farm. So again, if you're new to the channel, I've only lived on this property literally a year. We didn't even have furniture at this home. I was sleeping on an air mattress till July of 2020. So I'm giving you a backstory so that you understand where this video is going to be going. You have to establish yourself on your property. I recommend 1 to 2 years before you really know what you're going to be doing. Let me tell you what God did for me, what the Lord did for me over this weekend, just 2 days ago, because I know He works through me this way, so I can guarantee He works through you too. Check it out. So like I said, pretty much when spring hit, we have been the hammer down on this property. You don't just move to a homestead and poof, you know, you have a 10,000 square foot garden and endless food and the pantry is full, and look at all the things we've done, and we don't have to go anywhere but to Whole Foods twice a year. Folks, that's a bunch of malarkey, okay? I'm sorry to tell you that anybody, unless you are an indigenous person living in the Amazon, which I'm not even, there's a certain tribe, you can help me here as I'm talking, that, you know, they're pretty much, they do their own thing and that's pretty much it. But if you're pretty much anyone else on the planet, at some point you go, I am dependent upon going to the store, dependent upon a lot of things. And especially if you're trying to establish yourself on a homestead, or whatever your homestead is. If you're trying to establish yourself, folks, I'm gonna tell you right now, I told you before, it takes years. And within those years, it's different because you have different things you need to do or set up. Well, because of what I feel is a world crisis on food, and because I fear I'm gonna tell you my own fears. Even though I trust in God's plan, I have my own human fears. I don't see it get any better. I mean, have you checked out the prices of feed? Some of my feed for my animals has gone up $3 to $4 a bag in the last just 2 weeks. That's another whole video. And a lot of people don't understand this. I've posted on social media and I get frustrated because there are people that say ridiculous things like, well, why don't you just find a farmer and buy his corn? It doesn't necessarily work that way, but whatever you want to say. And then I have to think and pray and say, Lord, they just don't understand. And that's the problem, is a lot of people don't understand. But I have really pushed on getting a lot of really cool things for this particular garden. Now, I have my big garden up here, and it's set and ready to roll. I have a lot of volunteers and potatoes, so we have done some things. I have planted a lot of berries. We've planted a lot of stuff. We've got our wood stove in. I know you're asking. We have started our orchard. We can plant up to 27 trees in our orchard. So that's what I'm saying. We're doing a lot of things physically every day on top of the regular stuff. We've got our hay through fall. We've done a lot of things. So I have given myself some grace, and I said, I'm going to plant my garden if it doesn't get in until towards pushing Memorial Day, because we've had such a weird spring again. That's okay. That's okay. Patara, you can do it. Patara, calm down. You know, I have to go through this. But I still kick myself because I get so disappointed in myself because I want things done yesterday. Are you feeling that stress? Are you feeling that pressure? Honey, I'm there with you. But let me tell you what happened. So I had plans to expand this entire tunnel, okay? This is from last year, going to expand the entire tunnel. I have bought all this beautiful black landscaping, woven weave for the garden. We've got the plastic for this. I mean, we have invested this year at times. When we got our windfall, we invested it into things for the garden and the homestead. We've really tried to stay very diligent on that, or pay off a small debt or whatever. You need to be thinking about these things. But because it's not done yesterday, I've been so mean to myself. I've really been mean to myself. Well, we've also thought about doing all kinds of other establishment projects on the farm. One of them is to reconnect to our well. We're originally on a very large well here on the home, and the only reason it got disconnected, we've talked to the owner again, and is because of a lightning storm. So we finally got this guy. They are so busy. If you know anybody that sells wood stoves or digs wells or does any of these types of things, folks, they are backed up from here to Texas in terms of business, because a lot of people see a lot of the things that are happening and they're very concerned. And it only takes a small population to drive a business like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, folks, people know that being as self-reliant as they possibly can is important. But back to my story. So I told myself, listen here, girly, you're gonna do this. So this garden, which is pushing, and a few other little details, was supposed to be been done according to my schedule, my time, Patara's way, last Friday. Well, it didn't get there. And I told myself, girlfriend, it's okay. You'll finish it on Saturday, and then you can enjoy your Sunday, and then you can push into Memorial Day week and do all kinds of little smaller, easier things, and you're gonna ride it out. It's gonna be awesome. Well, our well guy came Saturday morning. He said, I'll be there, y'all. I'll be there. And it's taken 2 to 3 weeks to get him at the house. So this is how God works. So he got here on Saturday morning, which is 2 days ago. Got here Saturday morning at 9 o'clock sharp, buddy. He was on slick as a whistle. I loved him. He was really sweet. And he came out and he looked, and he came over and he opened up our well and looked. And long story short, I'm not sure how the well is going to end up. We are gathering information. where all of these things, they're going to come back. They're going to have to come back and test. All, you know, all that stuff. That's all a bunch of minutia. So we took the well house off, went down and looked, and he was like, y'all, water is not far down here. Because of the way it's set up and all of these things, him and James are having this big old engineering conversation. I ate biscuits, okay? But, so here's where it's at. So here's the thing. So I'm getting excited. James is excited. We're seeing all this potential for a well. Because, folks, without water, you're nothing, okay? But here's the thing. Right before he left, he walked over and he said, I have to ask you a question. And I said, he was like, y'all, he said, are y'all going to be planting in this garden? And I was like, oh my God. Why? Well, he put his hands in his pocket and he looked around and he said, we're going to have to be driving in some, and he was explaining it, the big truck and this and that, and you know, it da-da-da-da-da-da. And he said, and James was like, well, you can come right here through the gate. And he said, that's not going to be a problem. He said, well, I understand that. He said, we can do that. He said, but we're going to be driving over at least a third of that garden. He said, so if you're planning on planting, you know, he said, I think we can make it up right to the edge of what you've already got on that tunnel thing you got there. And I didn't stress out. I didn't freak out. I just looked up and went, this was your plan all along. Man plans, God laughs. I see what you did here today. I see what you've been doing, Lord. I see it. What you don't know is, as I have told James, and I've even thought to myself, and I've even said openly to friends that I thought that maybe this year I need to back off the pressure of myself in terms of how much gardening I need to do. Why? Because this is our establishment year. Make my chicken coop better. I've got a woodshed to build. I've got something for my cows I need to build. I have things that are very time consuming and unfortunately could be a little bit expensive now. Don't get me started. You know, in other words, do the garden, do your due diligence, do what you know to do and stay the course. But that's important. You have to, you should. You need to grow food every year. It's important. Figure things out. But don't get so bogged down with all this expansion so much. Make a bigger, better compost. Think about where you want to put something in the fall. Self-sustainability is not just about going out and building a high tunnel and putting tomatoes out. That is not self-sustainability, folks. It's working with your animals. It's working with what you've got. It's adding all around. It's all inclusive. I've got a beautiful brand new wood stove that needs to be installed. That's what we're waiting on. I know a lot of you have asked, you know, where is it? It's sitting right over there. And we knew it would be that way. But here's the thing. I won't be cranking her up till fall anyway. So I thought, we've got this summer to get her installed. The guy's coming. Again, super busy. Here's the thing. Listen to me. This is the deal. Had I expanded all of these things, had I put out all the things that I've invested my money and time in, which I can in the future or in other places, whatnot, I would have to be taking every single bit of that down in order to make my potential well reconnection happen. See how God works? So this is what all this rambling is about. I don't know what God's plan is for everything. I don't know his timing. I know what the plan ultimately is, in my opinion. But I'm saying, he don't work on my timeline. He don't work on your timeline. And I accept that. But still, we're human and we want to do and go and be and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes it's like the reins start pulling. It's like the harder I tried to get out here last week, the more other things came up. It was like endless. It was like, and I would look at James at 8 o'clock at night and go, well, I guess I was a failure today. And he would say, baby, there's tomorrow. We have tomorrow. You have tomorrow. You're not a failure. It's about your effort. It's about your trust in what's going to happen in terms of you going with your best effort. There's a plan for all of this. There's a plan for me. There's a plan for you. And the calling of self-reliance and self-sustainability is not how to grow the best tomato. Well, that's pretty important. I mean, my bologna sandwiches will tell you that, but that's, you know what I'm saying. So I killed myself. I beat myself up. I've raked myself over the coals because I've been so disappointed in my own self. And all the while, God had me working on other things. I would say, I don't want to go plant another apple tree. I want to go till my garden. I want to put in my landscaping fabric. I want to get this. I mean, do you know how many times I've said that? I've stressed you out just by telling you. Imagine what I was last week. So here's the deal, folks. Get out and do. Look around your property. I don't care if it is 1/50th, if I can say it, of an acre. You can make it productive. Go out and look around. Put your feelers out. Talk about it. What you think today may not be what God has you do tomorrow. That's a guarantee. So guess what? I'm going to get to this. It's going to look a whole lot like last year. And last year was good. Last year was really good. But all the meanwhile, guess what I'm doing in the meantime and what we're going to be focusing on? See, this is where we forget ourselves. I'm going to have a well. I'm going to have an orchard. I'm going to have an expansion for my chickens. I'm going to have a woodshed. I'm going to have a healthy family. I'm going to have a wood stove. These are the plans, and that is the focus. And it will happen over, a sprinkle of time in the next few weeks and months. I just have to be patient, and I have to believe. And I always tell you this as I close this long-winded video out. Work your hind end off. Do what you physically can do. If the best that you can do, due to whatever your circumstances are, is to learn to bake bread this summer, is to go to Aldi, go to Costco, go somewhere where you can buy foods relatively cheap that you can store on your shelf long term. Go do it. Go do it. Learn to crochet, learn to knit, learn to sew a button. You don't have to be out here every day slamming out 45, 60 bales of hay or tilling a garden to be productive. Folks, everything that we're doing right now, that you're doing, regardless of your circumstances, matters. And when you learn to make that biscuit, and when you learn to make that bread, and when you learn to identify plants or something as simple as that, share it with another person, folks. All of these skills matter, and the younger generations need you more than anything. More than anything. So, it's going to get done, but it's not on my timeline, and we have to believe that. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Boy, I got some pretty onions, don't I? Do you know he's going to actually, he said, well, we'll still come in over your onions, ma'am. And I was like, oh. But it's just going to be at the top. Hopefully that won't be still for another couple of weeks. So I'll probably get some good ones up there still, but they're beautiful. They're doing great. But guys, it's all going to be okay. We just have to do what Granny did. Stick with it. We'll see you in the next video. I'll show you how this turns out. Ain't no shame in this game, girlfriend. We got it. See you on the next video.